Hey, what's up guys, I'm Tate, and in this video I'm going to be going over some of the changes you can expect in my favorite class, Ninja, for Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers. So first off, I'd like to go over some of the traits, as there is an absolutely massive change with Ninja that I think is going to make a lot of players really happy. To start this section, I'd like to talk about the ones that didn't change first, and that includes All Fours, Fleet of Foot, Enhanced Shikuchi, and a few traits like Dripping Blades and Enhanced Dexterity have been completely removed altogether. So first up, we've got Mug, which was buffed from 30 to 40 Ninki upon execution. Next, and most importantly, is Shukiho. Now, Shukiho is the ability that allows you to generate Ninki on auto attacks. However, in Shadowbringers, we finally got the change that a lot of ninjas have really been wanting, and they changed it so that you generate Ninki on weapon skills now rather than auto attacks. So now every attack you land with your rotation, not including stuff like mudras or off globals, just your main rotation, your 1, 2, 3, now generates Ninki. At level 62, it is 6 Ninki, and at level 78, it is 8 Ninki per attack. And as it reads, it does affect weapon skills now, so that does include throwing daggers. So now, if you have to leave the boss for whatever reason, you can use throwing daggers to keep your Ninki generation going. Most of the complaints I saw based around this class were pretty much all around how it generates Ninki, so I really hope that this change brings a lot more people back to Ninja. Now to go over the new traits, and there's only 2, but they're pretty dang good. First, at level 74, you unlocked Enhanced Shikuchi 2, which utilizes the new charged skill system and grants you 2 uses of Shikuchi. Ninja mobility is looking really good with this change, being able to teleport out of an AoE and then right back in, and then easily being able to refresh it with Raiton is going to be really nice. The next trait is Enhanced Kasatsu at level 76. This trait is absolutely unbelievable. It took one of our best abilities and utilized the charge skill system, and now we have 2 charges of Kasatsu at level 76. So what this means in the long run is that we won't have to worry about wasting time on Kasatsu by waiting for our mudras to come off cooldown, as long as we're not capped out at 2 Kasatsu usages, it'll always be in cooldown, so we won't be losing any potency throughout the fight by not using it right away when it hits 1 charge. So on top of giving you 2 charges of Kasatsu, it also, as you can see in the tooltip, gives you access to 2 new mudras, and we'll be talking about those in the skill section coming right up. So in this section, first I'd just like to compare the skills from Stormblood to the updated ones for Shadowbringers, to give you an idea as to what to expect. Please keep in mind all potencies and cooldowns are subject to change from now until the launch of the expansion, and even further to the launch of raids. So this is basically just going to give you a general idea in the direction that Square Enix wants to take the class, not to what it will be in its final result. So getting these out of the way, here are the skills that remain the same from 4.0 to 5.0, so we can get right to the good stuff. Ten, Chi, and Jin all are the same. Ninjutsu, Throwing Dagger, Shade Shift, Hide, Keiton, Hyoton, and Doton are all the same potencies and same effects that they were before. And then the ones that got removed include Jugulate, Duality, Shadewalker, and Smokescreen. Aggro tools being removed isn't exactly surprising with the new aggro system that tanks have. Aggro as a DPS or a healer really isn't an issue anymore as long as tanks are in tank stance. Duality being removed is maybe surprising at first, but if you saw in the job trailer, there is a new ability that gives you sort of a shadow clone, and trust me when I say it more than makes up for it, so we'll get to that later. On to the skills that did change, whether it was a buff or a nerf. Here are all the abilities compared to what they were before and what they will be. So Mug is getting a 10 potency increase and now recovers 40 Ninki instead of 30. Dream Within a Dream was upgraded from 150 to 200 potency and now grants a buff called Assassinate Ready. So Assassinate was changed, and now instead of using it when a target is below 20% HP, you actually are able to use it every 60 seconds right after you use Dream Within a Dream. So in the terms of how many times you assassinate per fight, this should equal out to far more uses of Assassinate. And on the topic of Assassinate, Assassinate itself also received a 60 potency buff. So Trick Attack went from 400 to 500 potency, which seems a little crazy, but it's actually only a 20 potency increase due to the fact that Suiton now does 80 less than it used to. Still, it's a slight buff, so we'll take what we can get. Kasatsu was decreased from 120 seconds to a 60-second cooldown and now has 2 charges. An absolutely crazy change if you really think about how many mudras you're going to be able to get out per fight now. Death Blossom is now granted at level 38 and got a 10 potency increase, and it now combos into a brand new ability called Hake Mujinsatsu. This ability has a combo potency of 140 in AoE and extends your Huton by 10 seconds, so no more armor crushing in AoE pulls. You'll unlock Hake Mujinsatsu at level 52, ironically before you even get Armor Crush. Shadow Fang has been increased from 200 to 260 potency, and its dot is now 50 for 18 seconds, which is up from 40 for 21 seconds. Shadow Fang is now granted at level 30, and now combos from
Spinning Edge.
So it's only 2 attacks to get your dot up, similarly to how the class worked back in Heavensward. Armor Crush went from 240 to 330 potency, and from the flank, it's from 300 to 390 potency. Spinning Edge now is 200 potency, up from 150. Gust Slash went from 200 to 250 potency. Aeolian Edge went from 280 to 380 combo potency, and that is 340 to 440 from the rear. Hellfrog Medium received a bit of a nerf and now has a 50% drop off for any additional enemies hit after the first one. Bava Kakra was reduced from 600 to 500 potency, however it no longer has a cooldown, so every time you get 80 Ninki you can blow it on that, ultimately resulting in a far larger Bava Kakra usage per fight. Tenchi Jin received a huge change and now no longer requires Ninki. It is now just a 100-second cooldown, so you don't have to blow your resource on it, you just have to stop the flow of combat to use it still. Shikuchi was buffed in that it now has 2 charges when you unlock the proper trait for it. Fuma Shuriken was buffed from 240 to 280 potency. Raitan was buffed from 360 to 400 potency. Suitan received a nerf from 180 down to 100 potency, but keep in mind that we got a buff with Trick Attack up 100 potency, so technically it's not that much of a nerf if you hit from the rear. Now as far as new abilities go, Ninja only got a few if you don't include the 2 charges of Kasatsu in new ability. This isn't to say it's underwhelming though, as these new skills will definitely change the way Ninja feels quite a bit. So we've got 2 new mudras that can only be used under the effect of Kasatsu now. The first one being Hyosho Ranryu, which is 550 potency and is a direct upgrade of Hyotan, and Goka Mekyako, which is a direct upgrade of Keitan, and it does 400 potency and an AoE with no fall off at all. Next up is Meisui, which is an ability that dispels Suitan, getting 40 Ninki, which is effectively 250 potency, half of a Bava Kakra, added onto that Suitan. Last but definitely not least is its level 80 ability, Bunshin. For 15 seconds at the cost of 80 Ninki, you can summon a shadow clone of yourself that will pretty much repeat every attack that you use. For 15 seconds, that equals out about an average of 5 auto attacks if your skill speed's not super high. And with the nature of this ability hitting twice, you do also generate double Ninki with this buff up. I'd advise using it and fitting at least 2 Aeolian Edges in, and with the Ninki generation, it's a free Bava Kakra as well. With the loss of duality, this skill seems like a great substitute. So with a lot of the changes here and there, I think Ninja's going to be doing really well for itself. I know a lot of people are hoping to see the meta change, maybe even pushing Ninja out so they aren't required for hardcore groups anymore. Unfortunately, with the Trick Attack debuff seeing no changes, it looks like they're going to be here for another expansion. Either way, I'm stoked to play it, and this class is seeing a huge boost in DPS not only with its raw potencies, but the frequency it'll be able to use its skills. With Ninki generation changed and the Bunshin skill, I'm honestly expecting to see a few people try skill speed builds, and I'm really curious to see how that's going to work out. So I'm loving the changes with Tenchi Jin, as it's just a cooldown rather than something I have to dedicate Ninki towards, even though it still definitely kills the flow of the class for me. The removal of aggro tools was something I'm sure a lot of people were paying attention to the tank changes saw coming, as aggro is a non-issue for DPS now. All in all, I'm really happy with these changes, and I'm super excited to see what people do with this class, since its overall complexity still seems pretty deep. Let me know what you guys think, and remember to be kind and respectful to each other when engaging in discussion with the new information. Be sure to check out my other videos on Shadowbringers from the media tour as well. Lots of class overviews and an exclusive interview with Naoki Yoshida, director and producer of the game. See you guys around.